Fact: being overweight can increase your chances of a heart attack, stroke, diabetes, and other health problems. Fact: Southampton Health Services has been helping people lose weight and keep it off through their doctor-supervised weight loss program for over 25 years.
Southampton Health Services has changed my life dramatically. I feel more confident, more energetic, more healthier, and life is good.
If you're serious about losing weight and living longer, then call Southampton Health Services.
Welcome to Southampton Health Services. We are very excited to have you here and are optimistic that as a team we're going to be able to help you achieve your weight goals. How are we going to do this? As background, Southampton Health Services is composed of a team of board-certified physicians who have a focused interest in bariatric medicine, a team of nurses with expertise in this area, and additional support staff. How are we going to do this? It's not rocket science. There are basically three main things that we're going to do. One is we're going to modify your eating habits. That is what you're eating, why you're eating, and when you're eating. Number two is we're going to start you on an exercise program if you're not on one already. And number three, we're going to prescribe medications that are going to help curb your craving, increase your metabolic rate, and help you lose. Starting off with number one, eating. How many of you wind up eating breakfast? Remember what your mother said to you? It's the most important meal of the day. Well, unfortunately, with our busy schedules, we often get the children ready for school, get them off, have a quick cup of coffee, and then head off to work. Unfortunately, when we do this, we never turn off what is called starvation ketosis, which is a state of the body's metabolism that takes place after you having been sleeping for 8 to 10 hours and not eating. Until you turn off that starvation ketosis, you can't get your body's metabolic rate up, and therefore you can't start burning calories. So the first thing we're going to be doing is making sure that you eat breakfast. Many of you people probably don't eat much during the daytime as a meal, but rather just will have snacks throughout the day. This causes all kinds of problems. First of all, when you eat a snack, usually it's a carbohydrate-containing product. What carbohydrates do is they break down to simple sugars. Your sugar level goes up, insulin levels go up to drive the sugar into the cells, and as a consequence then the cells get replete in sugar. After they are full of sugar, they say, I don't need any more sugar, and the body now has to store that sugar as fat. And so that sugar energy then becomes deposited as fat. Unfortunately, now what happens with the sugar going into the cells, insulin's trying to drop down, but your sugar level in your blood drops down sooner, you crash, and you need to have another snack. So 2 hours later, you're having some more chips, some coffee, or some sweet tea. And this goes on all day long with your blood sugars going up, insulin chasing after it, and your body constantly having these ups and downs of blood sugar with you continuing to take in more calories than you need to. The other problem that happens is many people wind up working so hard during the day, they get home at the end of the day, they cook dinner, they eat their large meal, which then causes them to feel tired, and then they fall asleep. That's hibernating. Worst thing in the world to do is to eat a large meal and then go to bed. Because what happens? The body can only store food energy three ways. One is in the sugar form, in a storage form in the liver called glycogen. After you've eaten a meal, your sugar storage forms are full, and therefore there's no more place for the body to store energy as sugar. The second place it's going to wind up storing sugar is in the form of protein. Well, when you're sleeping at night, you're not burning up much protein, so the body's not going to store it that way. So the third way the body's going to store food energy when you're sleeping is in fat. So what I want you to be doing is for 3 hours before you go to bed to not be eating anything other than fruit, salad with low-calorie dressing, and water. That way you go to bed, you don't have all this food energy in your body that's going to be converted into fat overnight. You wake up hungry in the morning and then you eat your breakfast. Other things regarding dieting and eating correctly is what you can see is when you look at the blue book, we're going to be getting the carbs away from you. The vast majority of people who come to Southampton Health Services have problems with eating too many carbohydrates. Nobody comes here saying, Doc, I eat too much filet mignon. To quote Mrs. Smith, the president of Southampton Health Services, life is stress, food is comfort, and carbohydrates are just wonderful comfort foods. Unfortunately, as I've alluded to already, these carbohydrates wind up causing significant problems with gaining weight in the form of fat. So what we got to do is get the carbs behind you. And as you can see in our blue book, There aren't any white stuff, that being things like rice, pasta, bread, and corn, which, believe it or not, is considered to be a carbohydrate. Once we get those carbs behind you and stop the carb craving, we're going to be able to help you further increase your metabolic rate by giving you more protein in your diet. Protein stimulates glucagon, which is the fat-burning hormone, while suppressing insulin, which is the fat-forming hormone. By doing this, then, what we're going to do is we're going to further increase your metabolic rate and help you burn up some more calories just by modifying your diet. One thing you can't do any longer is to be going to fast foods. Unfortunately, fast foods are all very high density, high fat, high salt, high calorie foods. You can't go to a fast food place and get a nutritious burger. You can't get a good chicken sandwich or a filet of fish sandwich that's going to not have 500 or 600 calories in it and 50 to 60% fat. If you have to go to a fast food restaurant, I implore that you please be sure that you get a salad and you use a low calorie, not just a low fat, but a low calorie dressing. You can't do the sweet tea. Not to mention any names, but one of the local fast food places, when they make their sweet tea, they put in 4 pounds of sugar into the sweet tea mix. This is about 300 calories of one small cup of sweet tea that you're getting. And you can imagine, you get that load of sugar, 2 hours later, you're going to wind up having your sugar crash and you're going to need to have some other kind of treat. So your teas are going to have to be unsweetened using Splenda or Crystal Light. Similarly, your sodas need to be diet. And of course, as you know, what is also very important in our program is we make sure that you're drinking plenty of water. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to have you start an exercise program. Every day you've got significant stress. If you wind up walking for a half hour, 45 minutes, you stimulate certain neurotransmitters called endorphins and enkephalons. They go up to the brain and relax you. If you do this every day, what happens is you don't need to eat the mac and cheese to feel good. You brush your teeth every day. I want you to do some kind of exercise for a half hour every day. If you're not exercising now, I want you to start easy. Walk 10 minutes a day for a week or two. Then add 5 minutes to it until eventually you get up to 30 to 45 minutes a day. If you don't have that time right now, a few suggestions. 1, park your car further away in the parking lot when you go to the supermarket. You walk 5 minutes to the supermarket, you walk 5 minutes out of the supermarket, that's 10 minutes. That's a third of your daily's exercise that you need to do. Similarly, if you go to school, park on the far end of the parking lot. Walk for the 5 minutes to be able to get to class and the 5 minutes back. Use the stairs at work. Go up 2 flights of stairs and instead of taking the elevator. These are all good means to be able to help you burn up some calories, to maintain tone while you're losing weight, and, as recommended by the American Heart Association, getting exercise at least 5 to 6 days per week. In addition to the diet, we are likely going to be prescribing to you an appetite suppressant. We generally use the phentermines. They are sustained-release medications that should last you throughout the day. I want you to be eating your breakfast, you take your appetite suppressant. I like to think of them as being craving curbers rather than appetite suppressants, because I want you to be eating the 3 meals a day. It's the 12 snacks during the day that I want to be able to eliminate. These are going to allow you to be sure that you do eat properly, the right amount of protein, while reducing the carbohydrates in your diet. In addition to an appetite suppressant, we may very well prescribe to you a diuretic. This is to get rid of the extra salt water that commonly accumulates when people get overweight. I want you to be drinking plenty of water, but for blood pressure control and for overall good cardiovascular health, we want to decrease the amount of total salt in your body, and this is what the this is what the diuretic is going to provide for you. Lastly, we were going to prescribe to you a B12 shot once per week. The purpose of this is to help you to maintain your energy as you lose weight. Not uncommonly, people, when they lose weight, partially because of weight loss, but also partially because they are sacrificing the loss of many of those gratifying carbohydrates that they're accustomed to, feel a little run down. We find that the B12 shot tends towards providing you with energy to help you to maintain not only your diet, but also your exercise program. Lastly, we want you to be sure that you're drinking plenty of water. Water is actually essential to the breakdown of fat. We recommend 8 glasses of water per day at Southampton Health. As you may or may not know, Tidewater has the third highest incidence of obesity in the country, following New Orleans and San Antonio. And why is this? Well, if you drive down a street in this town, you get to a street corner, there's 3 fast food restaurants and an all-you-can-eat buffet. Well, any place that's going to be giving you all-you-can-eat for $9.99 is not providing you with nutritious food. So fast food buffets are out. As I mentioned previously, you cannot go to fast food restaurants either unless you're going to get a salad. The other problem is the quantities of food that are given to people when they go to restaurants in this town. I'm from New York. In New York, when you get a piece of fish, it's about the size of the palm of your hand, which is about what is equivalent to 1 portion. In Tidewater, they give you the whole fish. So I say if you're going to go to a restaurant in this town, no appetizer, no dessert, ask for the styrofoam container with the entree. Before you take 1 bite of food, half of everything on your plate in the styrofoam container, out of sight, out of mind, that's for tomorrow. That way you wind up doing a number of things. 1, you wind up taking in the appropriate amount of calories for that meal. 2, you finish your plate, which is what your mom always told you to do. And number 3, you're going to eat more slowly, which actually allows the intestinal tract to be able to secrete hormones in time to be able to tell your brain that you are full. As you may or may not know, obesity causes significant secondary medical problems. It increases your risk of developing diabetes, hypertension, vascular disease, which increases your risk of having stroke or heart disease, including peripheral vascular disease, which causes aching in the legs, arthritis, particularly of weight-bearing joints of the hips and knees, and certain cancers. What's more significant is that losing weight helps to reduce the risks of all these problems. Your blood sugars are better controlled. If you have diabetes, you may actually need less blood glucose lowering medications. If you have hypertension, your hypertension will become easier to control and you may need less blood pressure medicines. And most significantly, losing weight is great for your self-esteem. To reiterate, what we're going to be doing is 3 things. 1, we're going to have you adjust your times of eating so that you're eating a good breakfast, a good-sized lunch, and a lighter dinner, not eating anything heavy for 3 hours before you go to bed, eliminating the snacks during the day, and ceasing to go to fast food restaurants and all-you-can-eat buffets. Number 2, we're going to have you start an exercise program to help you maintain energy, burn up calories, and maintain tone while you lose weight. And number 3, we're going to give you medications that are going to curb your craving and increase your metabolic rate to help you lose. Doing all 3 things, you should be losing 2 to 4 pounds per week on a consistent basis. If you're not, physicians review all medical records on a monthly basis, and if we see that you're not losing, we discuss it with the nurse regarding what we might need to do to adjust your exercise routine, modify your diet, or change your appetite suppressants. We anticipate that as a team, we ought to be able to help you achieve your weight goals. One of the problems many of us have is that we have a very long, stressful day at work. We come home at night, do our chores, eat, and then go to sleep. This is hibernating. What happens is that the body can only store food energy 3 ways. 1, it stores it in the storage form of the liver called glycogen. If you haven't been starved for 4 days, that storage form is already filled up. That tank is full, so there's no place for the body to store food energy there. The second place the body stores energy is in muscle. Well, when you're sleeping at night, you're not doing a lot of muscle activity, and so there's little food energy that's going to be stored there. The third place the body stores food energy is in fat. So if you eat a large meal and go to bed, what is going to happen is all that food energy is going to be converted into fat. One of the things we're going to have you do is not eat heavily before you go to bed. Rather, you should have only salad with low-calorie salad dressing, fruit, and water for 3 hours before you go to bed. That way, you'll wake up hungry, eat breakfast, turn off your starvation ketosis, and take on the day.
Do you want to know the secret to losing weight? Southampton Health Services is a medically supervised weight loss program. Our licensed doctors and nurses will identify the origin of the weight problem and individualize a program that will work for you. Southampton Health Services encourages a lifestyle change and weight management rather than the traditional ways of dieting. Are you ready to lose weight? Give Southampton Health Services a call at 723-0252. They know the secret to weight loss.